you may be putting in your mouth every day, an ingredient that seems harmless, has been part of your routine for years, and even brings emotional comfort. But what few people know is that it may be silently attacking your intestine, causing inflammation, and, over time, increasing the risk of developing one of the most common types of cancer among people over 65, intestinal cancer, also known as colon cancer. And the most concerning part, almost nobody talks about this clearly. But today, in this video, we're going to talk in a supportive way, with care, and with real solutions for those who want to live longer and better. Intestinal cancer is a disease that usually develops slowly, without giving clear signs in the early stages. That's why it's so important to talk about it, especially with those who are already past 60, 70, or 80 years old. This type of cancer is among the most frequent in the elderly, and many of the factors that contribute to its appearance are directly linked to lifestyle and diet. As the years go by, our body's functioning changes, and the intestine, which is responsible for vital functions such as digestion, nutrient absorption, and even the production of hormones that affect mood, begins to work more slowly and delicately. That's why so many older people begin to notice changes in bowel function. If you feel bloated after meals, have frequent constipation, cramps that come and go without explanation, excess gas, or that constant feeling of a heavy stomach, know that your body is trying to tell you something. These symptoms, which are often ignored or treated as part of aging, may be signs that the intestine is not functioning as it should. And most importantly, they deserve attention. Many people live for years dealing with this type of discomfort without seeking help, getting used to the inconvenience and even self-medicating. Laxatives, very strong teas, restrictive diets. All of this may bring temporary relief, but it doesn't solve the root of the problem. And when we don't understand what's behind these symptoms, we end up feeding internal inflammation even more without even realizing it. Mrs. Claire is 78 years old and has always liked to take care of her home, food, and health. She used to walk every morning and had a peaceful routine, but she began to notice that something was different. She was always tired. Her bowels took days to function. She felt an uncomfortable pain that came and went. At first, she thought it was just her body tired from age. But over time, these symptoms became more frequent and disrupted her routine. She stopped going out with friends, stopped walking, and no longer enjoyed cooking. It was only after a conversation with a neighbor that she decided to see a doctor. And that's when she discovered that the discomfort that seemed small was, in fact, a reflection of chronic inflammation in the intestine. The most curious part? For years, Mrs. Claire had been lovingly consuming a food that she considered healthy, out of habit and tradition. A food that had always been present at her table and that seemed harmless. No one had told her that this habit could, over time, harm the functioning of the intestine. What's most important is that she found out in time. With the right guidance and some simple changes, today she feels much better. She started walking again, regained her appetite and energy, and it all began with information. What if what you frequently consume, trusting that it's good for you, is silently interfering with your health? It's an important question, and one we often avoid asking. But the fact is that some eating habits we've carried forever may indeed be related to intestinal discomfort, low energy, and even the appearance of more serious diseases. When the intestine begins to show signs that something isn't right, these signs can spread throughout the body. Excessive fatigue, back pain, difficulty sleeping, feeling mentally confused, even mood changes. All of this can originate from intestinal imbalance. And in the elderly, this impact is even stronger, because the body is more sensitive, more demanding with what it receives. Many people begin to isolate themselves because of intestinal symptoms. They feel embarrassed to go out, afraid of feeling unwell in public, insecure about traveling or even going to a family lunch. Intestinal health affects not only the body's functioning, but also freedom, social and emotional life. And that's why this conversation is so important. And the most alarming thing is that most of the time these symptoms are normalized. The person thinks it's age-related, that everyone goes through it, that they just need to drink more water or take medicine and that's it. But it's not quite like that. The cause might be hidden somewhere in their diet that hasn't been noticed yet. And that's exactly where the danger lies. When we let time pass without understanding the origin of the problem, the situation worsens, and the body, which had been asking for help with small signals, starts to scream. The intestine is one of the organs most sensitive to what we eat. It reacts directly to ingredients, combinations, additives, and substances we consume every day. But there is a specific factor, very present in modern diets, that has proven especially aggressive for intestinal health, particularly in people over 60. We won't reveal yet what this ingredient is. You'll discover that in the next section. But what I can tell you is that it's present in many frequently consumed products. And the worst part, it's often promoted as practical, accessible, and even healthy. The most important thing now is to know that your body isn't wrong for giving signals. It's doing its job, trying to protect you. And when we learn to listen to our bodies more attentively, more lovingly, we begin to make different decisions. We start choosing what truly does us good. Because it's not about living in fear, but with awareness. Even if you've been dealing with discomfort for a long time, know that it's always possible to change. Always. The body has an incredible capacity for regeneration. You just need to give it the chance to do so. And that chance begins when you choose to take care of yourself with kindness, seeking reliable information, taking small actions that add up day after day toward health. Don't worry, because in this video you'll learn solutions that really work. Solutions that respect your pace, that fit into your routine, and that will help your body balance itself naturally. But before showing you this path, we need to go a little deeper. Understand what are the most common mistakes people make trying to solve intestinal problems. And mainly, reveal what this ingredient is that, although it seems harmless, is at the root of many cases of colon inflammation. That's what we're going to talk about now. Intestinal cancer, also known as colon cancer or colorectal cancer, develops slowly, almost always silently. It often begins with small changes in the cells of the intestinal wall, usually in the form of polyps, which are like small internal warts. These polyps, over time and without treatment, can transform into malignant tumors. It's a process that can take years. Therefore, the sooner we understand the signs, the more chances we have to act before the situation becomes serious. What makes this type of cancer so dangerous is precisely its discretion. It doesn't usually cause obvious symptoms in the early stages. When discomfort appears, many are already facing advanced inflammation or even intestinal obstructions. And that's why information is so valuable. It allows us to act ahead of time when it's still possible to prevent, reverse, strengthen the body, and often completely avoid the problem from setting in. In old age, the body undergoes natural changes. Cell renewal slows down, metabolism decreases, and the digestive system becomes more delicate. The intestine, for example, begins to absorb fewer nutrients and function less efficiently. Additionally, over the years, there is an accumulation of substances that the body has more difficulty eliminating. This happens because the detoxification capacity also reduces, and the immune system doesn't respond with the same strength as before. All this creates a more favorable ground for the emergence of diseases, especially when diet doesn't accommodate these new needs of the body. Unfortunately, many elderly people end up consuming foods that, instead of nourishing, further intoxicate the body. And this is the central point of our conversation now. The role of an ingredient that is present in many homes, many tables, and many habits, and that is directly related to intestinal inflammation and increased risk of colon cancer. We're talking about excess processed meat, like ham, hot dogs, sausage, bologna, bacon, and salami. These foods contain substances called nitrites and nitrates, which are chemical preservatives used to extend shelf life and give meat that vibrant appearance. The problem is that when these compounds enter the body and go through the digestive process, especially in the intestine, they can transform into highly carcinogenic substances called nitrosamines. These compounds irritate the intestinal mucosa, weaken the natural defenses of the region, and create an inflamed environment, perfect for the development of cellular alterations. It's important to understand that we're not talking about occasional consumption, but rather frequent use accumulated over the years. Many people grow up with the habit of eating bread with ham, sausage at lunch, hot dogs in weekend pasta dishes. This becomes part of culture, affection, food memory. And precisely because it seems so common and familiar, it goes unnoticed as something dangerous. But the most recent scientific studies have clearly shown regular consumption of processed meats significantly increases the risk of intestinal cancer. And if you're wondering why these foods seem harmless, the answer is simple. They're present in many traditional recipes, they're cheap, practical, and easy to prepare. In many homes, they're seen as quick options for breakfast, snacks, or even main meals. But the body, especially the aging intestine, can't handle the load of toxins these foods bring. And that's when problems begin. When the intestine is repeatedly exposed to these chemicals, the intestinal mucosa wears down. This causes chronic inflammation, impairs nutrient absorption, alters intestinal transit, and, over time, can cause mutations in the cells of the colon wall. It's like a silent, constant aggression that undermines the body's defenses without the person noticing. Now, what makes the situation even worse are the mistakes many elderly people make trying to improve bowel function without proper guidance. One of the most common mistakes is cutting out healthy foods, such as fruits, vegetables, and grains, thinking they are the villains. This happens a lot with people who experience gas or discomfort after consuming certain vegetables and end up eliminating these foods from their diet. But in fact, what the body needs is precisely a dietary re-education that helps the intestine adapt and function more efficiently. Another frequent mistake is the abusive use of laxatives and medications without medical prescription. Many people take these medications daily, believing they are helping the body eliminate what's causing harm. But the effect is exactly the opposite. Continuous use of laxatives compromises the natural functioning of the intestine, which becomes dependent on the substance to function. This weakens the intestinal muscles and, over time, makes constipation even more difficult to treat. Additionally, there are those who surrender to fad diets or ready-made internet solutions that promise to cleanse the organism or detoxify the body in just a few days. These approaches are often restrictive, unbalanced, and dangerous, especially for those who already have a more sensitive system. Cutting important food groups or following instructions without supervision can lead to nutritional deficiencies, dehydration, and even worsening of clinical conditions. All these paths, although chosen with good intention, end up causing more harm than benefit. And this is understandable. When a person is feeling discomfort, fatigue, and pain, they want a quick solution. They want to feel good again. And they end up betting on what seems easier or what they heard worked for someone else. But the truth is that the body needs balance, not extremes. These mistakes make intestinal recovery difficult and can even accelerate the advancement of silent diseases. When the intestine doesn't function well, the entire body suffers. Nutrient absorption is impaired, the immune system weakens, mood fluctuates, and energy decreases. Gradually, the person begins to feel less willing, more irritated, with less desire to go out, to move, to live. And this creates a cycle that's difficult to break. But there's good news amid all this. Even if you have made these mistakes, even if you've been dealing with these symptoms for a long time, there's still time to change. The body has an incredible capacity to renew itself. With small actions, performed consistently, it's possible to relieve inflammation, restore intestinal balance, and recover vitality. The first change is in awareness. Understanding that it's not necessary to live with discomfort, that the symptoms you feel are not normal and don't need to be accepted as part of aging. They are signs, and every sign is an invitation to transformation. The second change is in attitude, and it doesn't have to be anything radical. Sometimes, starting the day with a lighter breakfast, replacing a processed food with something natural, walking for 15 minutes outdoors already makes a huge difference. Each small step is an achievement. Each positive choice is a gesture of care for the body. Over the years, we have learned to value wisdom, experience, and time. And now it's time to apply this wisdom to healthcare. because living well is not a matter of luck, but of decision. And the most important decision you can make right now is to take care of yourself with love and truth. Many people go through this and make these mistakes without realizing it. But stay calm, because in the next segment we'll talk about what really works. We'll show accessible, natural, and effective strategies that can be put into practice in your daily life without suffering, without absurd restrictions, and with results you can feel in your body and heart. You deserve to live with lightness, energy, and health, and that's exactly what we're going to show you next. The time has come to talk about what really matters: solutions. Because knowing what's harmful is important, of course, but even more important is knowing what to do to change. And this is where things start to get lighter. Because contrary to what many people think, taking care of your intestines doesn't require enormous effort, complicated diets, or radical changes. What truly makes a difference are simple actions done with care and consistency. And it all begins with small daily choices which, added together, transform the body and life as a whole. Now tell me in the comments, where are you from? And did you identify with any of the habits we've discussed so far? Your comment can help other people feel welcomed and perhaps even inspired to change too. Let's start with what you can put on your plate today. Foods that help protect the colon. They are rich in fiber, natural antioxidants, and nutrients that feed the good bacteria in your intestines. And this is fundamental because the balance of intestinal flora is one of the main factors in maintaining colon health. The more real food you consume, the more protected your intestine becomes. Some simple examples: oats, papaya, chia, flaxseed, apple, banana, broccoli, carrot, green leaves, beans, lentils, chickpeas. All these foods, besides being nutritious, help keep intestinal transit working like clockwork. And the best part, they've always been part of many of our diets. What needs to change is how frequently they appear on the table. Replacing that ultra-processed snack with fruit and oats, or swapping white bread for a slice of whole grain bread with a drizzle of olive oil, is already a great start. If this made sense to you, share it with someone who also needs this information. It can make all the difference. Sometimes, a conversation like this comes at just the right time for someone who was about to give up on taking care of themselves. Another tip that seems simple but many forget is hydration. Yes, drinking water throughout the day makes all the difference. The intestine needs water to function well. Without it, stool becomes dry, intestinal transit slows down, and the body accumulates toxins that should be eliminated. The ideal amount may vary, but keeping a water bottle nearby and drinking little by little is a habit that gradually transforms health from the inside out. And we can't forget about movement. The body was made to move. Light walks, inside the house, in the yard, or on the street, help stimulate intestinal function and also improve disposition, mood, and heart health. It doesn't need to be exhausting. 15 to 20 minutes a day already makes a big difference. The important thing is to keep the body active. And whenever possible, do it with pleasure. Put on some good music, walk with a friend or neighbor, or simply enjoy the fresh air. Movement also helps the intestine to wake up, to function better and more naturally. Additionally, the way we eat also influences. Eating in a hurry, carelessly, impairs digestion and overloads the intestine. So a precious tip is, eat slowly, chew well, taste the food. This moment is an act of affection toward yourself. The more attention you give to mealtime, the more your body will thank you later. Another important step is to avoid ultra-processed foods. They are everywhere and often seem convenient. But the truth is that they contain chemical additives, excess sodium, hidden sugar, and bad fats that the intestine doesn't know how to handle. When you start removing these foods from your routine and make room for natural foods, your body begins to respond. And it's beautiful to see this happen, and it's essential to observe the body's signals. If something has changed, if you've started feeling pain, if you notice that your intestine isn't functioning well, pay attention. The body speaks. The problem is that sometimes we've learned to ignore it, but it doesn't have to be this way. Your body is not against you. It's trying to help you, and listening with care is the first step to truly take care of yourself. Now, something very important that cannot be missing: medical monitoring. Even with all these positive changes, it is essential to have preventive exams regularly. Colonoscopy, for example, is an exam that helps identify changes in the intestine even before any symptoms appear. The fecal occult blood test is also a simple and effective tool for detecting risks. Following up correctly is an act of self-love. It's a way of telling yourself, "I care about me." If you like content like this, click like, subscribe, and hit the bell to receive more health and wellness tips. Here we speak with truth, with care, and with the commitment to provide information that transforms lives. And maybe you're thinking, can I still change? After so many years of eating a certain way, will my body still respond? The answer is yes. It's never too late to start over. The body is intelligent, it adapts, it responds to care. Each step taken toward self-care is a step toward lightness, freedom, and well-being. Change doesn't have to be difficult or painful. It can be done with gentleness, one day at a time. And when you start feeling the effects, everything changes. Sleeping better, waking up with more energy, rediscovering the pleasure in going out, talking, moving. All this begins with a well-functioning intestine. And now you know this is within your reach. And if you want to solve this once and for all, check out the link we left here in the description with more detailed guidance. There's complementary material that can help you take the next steps with security, clarity, and peace of mind. Health doesn't need to be complicated. It can be simple, accessible, and even pleasurable. Taking care of your intestine is taking care of life. And when you decide to do this with affection, the body responds. You begin to feel lighter, more energetic, more connected with your own energy. And all this is reflected in your relationships, in the joy of living, in the will to move forward. You have faced many things in this life, overcome challenges, created stories, taken care of so many people. Now is the time to take care of yourself with the same dedication. Sometimes we get used to putting our own health aside, but there comes a time when the body asks for attention. And when we answer this call with care, everything begins to change. It's important to remember that health is not a destination, it's a journey. And every choice you make today has a direct impact on your well-being tomorrow. It doesn't matter how long you've been repeating habits that weren't good for you. What matters is the step you decide to take now. And this step doesn't need to be big. It just needs to be sincere. Imagine being able to wake up feeling energized, go to the bathroom without difficulty, do your activities without pain, leave home with more lightness. Imagine living your days with more freedom, more autonomy, more pleasure in simple things. This is possible. This is within your reach, because when the intestine is healthy, the entire body responds, and life, little by little, returns to its place. So, don't be too hard on yourself. Go at your own pace. Choose one habit to start today. Replace one food, take a short walk, drink one more glass of water. The important thing is to begin. The important thing is to put yourself first with love and without guilt. You deserve to feel good. You deserve to live with health. And it all starts now, with a simple choice, made with your heart. Life can be light and full of health at any age. Just take the first step with care and confidence. Believe it, taking care of yourself is the best gift you can give yourself. Because living well is not a privilege for the few. It's a right for everyone, and you deserve every bit of that lightness. Your body can still surprise you, your energy can return, and your joy of living can bloom again. It's never too late to take care of yourself with love.